Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to sunny Great Britain. Beautiful day here. I'm wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Woo! Pair of shorts and a t-shirt here in November in the UK. And they say global warming's a bad thing, right? I'm just kidding. Not really. Welcome back. Welcome to all those new people who are joining me for the first time. Welcome. Love to have you along. Lovely to have you along. And for those returning people, also wonderful to have you along. Equally wonderful to have you along. I've made this series of videos with me commentating what I think is going on in the world, and my perspective, if you like. There's been people that have agreed with me. There's been people who haven't. That's great, because we need to have a discussion about these things. And the discussion continues today. And today's discussion topic is the US presidential elections. So, unless you've been under a rock for the past few days, you would know that an election happened on Tuesday, I think it was. And there's been, let's just say, some debates about the veracity of the elections. Now, I can't believe that here we are in 2020 and we're still using paper ballots. I can't believe that here we are in 2020 and we can't find fixes for the fixes. The election fraud that's happening is on a grand scale. It's ridiculous. This undermines any respect we had for politicians. Well, I don't have any anyway, but any respect that we had for politicians and the political process. Voting. I mean, this is supposed to be our fundamental, basic, democratic right to vote and have our vote count for something. And here we are in the US, and let's not kid ourselves. If we think it's only the US, and we're delusional at this point. A few years ago here in the UK, we did a Brexit vote, and that's still being argued about. But here we are, 2020, and we still can't find a solution for all this nonsense to do with voting. Honestly, I spoke about it in my last video about blockchain voting. That's now people are talking about blockchain voting, of course, because of this debacle that's happening as we speak. But we knew in 2016 that there was problems with the election. We knew in 2018 there was problems with the election. There's been always problems with election and counting votes and who's allowed to vote and who's not allowed to vote and all the rest of the nonsense that goes along with it, and voter ID. And here we are, nothing's done. Well, perceived to be nothing done. But has these problems already been addressed? Have these problems been addressed and we don't know? And, we're going through a process of the public finally sort of seeing things that are in place or that are going to be in place. This whole debacle that we're living through right now is showing us, it should be showing us where there are issues in our world. And politics is the biggest one. Obviously, we've spoken about money and banking. It's disgraceful. No one's ever gone to jail. I mean, these top bankers have never gone to jail for what they've done. JP Morgan was just fined over $1 billion, or just 900 million, I think it was, for fixing the silver price. Did anyone go to jail? No. If I did, I'd be in jail getting raped as we speak. But this is the problem. We have a political class, we have an elite class that tells us not to do things, and there's laws in place for it. But when they break the laws, if you've got a good enough lawyer, you can get away with anything. And here we are, the average person who thinks that we're going to make a difference with our vote. And then when we finally do vote, then the votes are, mislabeled, miscategorized, miscounted, changed, or not allowed in a lot of places. Not allowed. How can you not disallow a vote when there's one thing in Michigan, I think it was, where they were saying that people were given Sharpies to fill out their votes, and the people in the voting place were deliberately doing it, knowing that the machine couldn't read the Sharpie votes. I mean, it's a disgrace what's happening in the world right now. I've been through this before, and it is necessary, I think. Necessary. It's a necessary evil. Sorry, I'll get out of the sunshine just a minute. I'm just going to turn the corner down here. But it's a necessary evil what we're going through to point out where the issues are. And the issues that everyone's fighting about are the things we really need to look at and address going forward. Whichever side of the political aisle you're on, whether you support Donald Trump or not, is irrelevant. This should concern us all because, as citizens of whatever country you live in, I don't care which country it is, whether it's Australia, whether it's the U.K. where I am at the moment, whether it's America or any other country, we're told that democracy is in our hands when we vote. And clearly, that vote isn't what we're told it is. When you have manipulation in the computer algorithms, when you have blatant manipulation of paper ballots going out to people who didn't request them, tens of thousands of ballots that are found in bins. You had a guy that was caught going up to Canada with a boot full of mail. At what point do we say, hold on a minute, something has to change? Now is the time that we should recognise that and make changes. Donald Trump has stood there and he said he wants to drain the swamp. So far, no one's gone to jail. Anyone that followed Donald Trump since the beginning of this thing is equally asking that question. If there is such a swamp, why hasn't anyone gone to jail? I am the same. I'm asking the same question. There are blatant crimes that have been committed by people that are going unpunished. Bankers, politicians, the crimes are going unpunished. And why is that? Why is it that we have small business owners who are opening their business to stay in business are being punished by governments, and police and local councils and things like that? Why are we being punished for breaking a mandate that says we have to close our businesses and put people out of work for a virus that has a 99.99% survival rate? But yet you have bankers and politicians that are clearly breaking laws, and not just little, I'm going to keep my business open so I can stay alive and feed my family. These are in the upper realms of treason and sedition and war crimes and crimes against humanity. The politicians are committing these vast crimes, and people like me are being arrested for opening their business so they can feed their family. Since when does the government have a right to take over how you can conduct your life? Oh, it's for your own safety. It's for your own good. Just like all the cameras around London are for your own safety and for your own good as well. When they don't stop any crime, and it doesn't help anyone get convicted. We have to see the blatant hypocrisy that we're being sold on a daily basis by our governments, by our councils, local councils, and by the police force that is encouraging and backing up these scandalous activity. This election in the US should point out to us that we are, the average person, you and me, we are serfs in a class system that you can never climb out of. We have the opportunity now to change it. But everyone hates Donald Trump so much. The only guy that's standing up to corruption in government, and everyone hates the guy because the media has told them to hate the guy. The only guy that's standing up in the face of all this is Donald Trump, standing up to corruption. And he's being vilified through the media, through social media, of course, because everyone's so clued in. No one watches the media, so that's not where they get their information from, apparently. But here we find ourselves in a situation where the only person who's pointing out the corruption is being vilified. And we're all sitting there and taking it and backing up the mainstream media nonsense narrative that Donald Trump's a bad guy. With the narrative that he's a racist, when it's been debunked 1,000 times over. I mean, it's getting ridiculous now. I had a friend say to me that he's never denounced white supremacy, where he's done it for years. But he believes that because it was said in the media. But yet he didn't watch the media. He just made that up himself, apparently, because he listens to every word that Donald Trump says. How many of us are guilty of this? How many of us are guilty of backing a government narrative that says one thing when clearly something else is true? I understand that people don't like Trump because of his character or the way that he puts things, or the way that he is. I get it. I understand that people think he's an idiot. I get it. You know, you think you can't string a sentence together? Fine, you can think that. That's fine. You know, but to believe a narrative because a media organisation has said so, I think it's a dangerous precedent. You know, and I think we should be very wary about where we get our information from. You know, the media in America and obviously around the world are parroting the same nonsense that they're parroting in America, saying that calling states to Joe Biden. I mean, this is a guy, Joe Biden, who didn't go out do any rallies, or if he did, there was maybe 5 or 6 people there in circles, obviously social distancing, or in their cars. That, funnily enough, all strangely seemed to be brand new Jeeps. He was doing a rally for people in their cars, all of them brand new Jeeps, and every single picture you saw was the same kind of cars in the same place. Odd, a little bit odd, but no one went to Joe Biden's rallies. You know, hardly any Joe Biden flags anywhere. Social media presence was zero. You know, there was the support for Joe Biden was minimal, to say the very least, and yet he's won 70 million votes in the UK and the US election. The most votes to be ever cast for anyone ever, including Barack Obama back in 2008 when he won a landslide victory. Joe Biden's got more votes, even though he did no rallying at all. Did no rallies. He was in his basement most of the time. Couldn't string a sentence together. But he won the most amount of votes that's ever been tabulated in an election ever in history. 70 million people voted for Joe Biden, apparently. Yet, Donald Trump would do rallies and 50, 60,000 people would turn up. You know, Trump signs everywhere, massive parades of people having, you know, Trump flags on their cars, boat parades of people. You know, thousands of people openly supporting the president, and a lot of people who weren't, purely because if they thought if they would, that they'd be beaten up or worse. Well, here we are. We find ourselves at nearly the end of 2020. The year has been a complete shit show, a fake virus that they tried to use to bring down the economy of the world. You know, this debacle of a presidency. You know, the presidential election, rather, not presidency, debacle of a presidential election, a quite obvious fraud that's happening on all fronts, on the election front, on the media front, you know, fraud being purported, you know, pushed on us for the population about the virus, obviously. I mean, that is the ultimate fraud that's been pushed on the public, and people believe it. People believe it. You know, no one's dying of old age anymore, which is kind of odd. You know, the heart attacks are being now listed as COVID, of course, here in the UK and around the world. Car accidents, obviously COVID. But you know, this should show the scale of the corruption to everybody, but it doesn't. You know, people believe what they see in the media, even when the media is so wrong. I mean, it's obvious that it's wrong. People defend it because what's the option? They're so lost in it that if you dare to attack the media, or if you dare to respond to the media, you're vilified. You know, people like me are vilified for pointing out the obvious. You know, what I see is obvious in what's going on right now. You know, people say, "No, we'll trust the science." When I point out the science, they dismiss it because it goes against their narrative. They refuse to open their eyes to anything other than what they're told by a reliable source. Let's talk about Brian Stelter, reliable sources, shall we? And CNN. Oh my God! I mean, the man's a joke. The man is a joke. So is Oliver Darcy. He's a complete joke. Anyone who works at CNN, they should be embarrassed, and they dare to call themselves journalists. MSNBC or MSDNC, you know, BBC here in the UK. It's just a joke. All of the media are treating us like we're morons. And the politicians are doing exactly the same. They just talk to you like you're a fucking idiot. You know, you have no say in this. The election proves that. Doesn't matter what you do, it's going to be the way that they want it to be. You know, and if you go against that, then you're a racist. or you're a xenophobe, or you're a sexist, or whatever the ist or ism is, you're it, because that's what we've come to. That's where we are right now in the world where we live. If you go against the party line, the way the media is describing the world is, or politicians are telling you how things are, then you are out of society. Which brings me back to things like this here, XRP and digital assets. Now let's just imagine for a moment, okay, that your favorite political power is in power. Your political party is in power, and you love them. You think they're wonderful. Let's just say it's the Labour Party here in the UK that openly say that they want socialism. Okay. Now let's just say there's someone like me who disagrees with that. Now we are heading to a digital economy. Make no bones about it. That's what's happening. I've pointed out many times before. A digital economy where there will be digital CBDCs, which is a central bank digital currency. Okay, so they will control the disbursement of digital money in digital wallets. Now, if you don't know what's happening in China, they have a social credit score system where if you disobey the communist government, then you are cut off from their electronic systems. So you can't use your digital money that the government has issued. They cut it off. They stop you from using it. You are cut off from the system. So here we are in a situation now where we're going into this in the whole world. Don't think that's not happening. It is. And you have an agenda that's being played out right in front of you. That's just treating you like you're a moron. Your vote doesn't count. So this new system that we're going into will cut you off from the system if you disagree with the government that's in power. So if they can manipulate the vote, then they can stay in power forever. If they can use the banking regulations that are being put into place and the digital economy to cut you off from the economy, then what power do you have? What power do you have anymore? What power is in the hands of the people that the government is supposed to serve? There is no power. Your power is being taken away moment by moment, step by step, inch by inch. It's being taken from you. And everyone's celebrating and saying, yes, we want Joe Biden to be the victor, or we want, whoever their party is. They want the shackles and chains to be in place, because right then and there, in that moment, that's what their goal is, because they're told that that's the best choice for them. So we find ourselves in this moment, and we have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do? As I said, I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. This should trouble us all. Let's just say, for instance, you don't like Donald Trump. Let's just say Donald Trump wins again, and they make sure that they use this process, this political voter fraud process, to benefit them, so they never ever lose power. Is that a good thing? It's not so good when it's on the other foot, is it? It's not so good when it goes against your political leanings. This should trouble us all. It should. This fraud, this outright fraud that's happening, should concern us all, because it is another erosion of our democracy that we're supposed to live in, to show us that we have no power in the game. And if the politicians are there to serve the people, then who are they serving? Who are they serving by doing this? They're serving themselves. And every day that goes by, and the more fear that gets put into you, fear, because it comes back to fear. Remember that. It's all about fear. Have you in fear, and you're easier to manipulate and to govern. Like the virus. The virus is fear. It's a fear porn campaign. If you don't do this, your grandma will die. You can't have sex with someone, or if you do, it has to be in a position where you can't kiss each other. I mean, I don't know about any of you, but I don't think I've ever had sex with someone where I didn't kiss them. Our lives, every moment of our lives is being governed by the most disgusting, filthy, corrupt pieces of filth on the planet, if it is a planet. And we're all sitting by idly and saying, well, that's right, yeah, that's okay. because I want that because my political party is winning. This isn't about your political party. This is about the way that we are governed and the way that we are living our lives based on a political agenda and an ideology. And if your ideology is being challenged, then that's a good thing, because in the bigger picture, we need to, as people, stand up for our rights in this society. And if our rights are being taken away, which they are on a daily basis, you can't open your business. You can't go and meet other people. You can't live your life because somebody else has made a rule that says that you can't. Who owns you? Who owns you? If you can't make a decision about your life and how you want to live it, who owns you? Oh, we all want to live in the laws of the land. But what happens when the laws of the land take away your rights as an individual to live your life? I've said it before. If you're fearful and you want to stay in your home and you want to live in fear and stay away from the world and lock yourself away for the rest of your life because of some fictional virus has a 99.9% success rate, survival rate, then please go ahead and do it, because society will benefit from you being out of it. The rest of us want to live our lives and we want to go and meet with people. We want to hug people. We want to kiss people, especially during sex. But we're being dictated to, and for how long? You know, last time we had a lockdown here in the UK, we're in lockdown again, by the way. Last time we had a lockdown here, they told us it was for 2 weeks and was to flatten the curve. To flatten the curve. And we're locked down for months, of course. And then what happened? Here we are again. You know, the hospitals are empty. Oh, but the hospital's being overrun. What, the hospitals are short staffed now because they laid everybody off. I don't know, how else to put it, but people have to stand up as one again in the face of this tyranny. Is what it is. It's a political power grab, and I don't care who's in power. It's not just the Conservatives. It's not just the Labor Party. It's all of them. They don't have our best interests at heart, and they can manipulate the vote, which has been obvious right now. They can manipulate the vote, so they can change whoever they want in power. And they can keep them there, and they can make the rules, and we have to abide by it, and it will be enforced by the local councils and the police. And this is all to benefit us, apparently. Who's going to support us when we don't have a business anymore? Who's going to support us when we don't have a job? We're going to rely on the government. Okay, where's the government going to get the money from? If businesses are gone, then there's no tax coming from businesses. If we're all out unemployed, then there's no income tax coming from us. Where is the money going to come from? From the central banks. And then what happens? Central banks give the government the money, then the government has to pay it back with interest. Where's the interest going to come from? There's no tax. Do you see a problem? I do. The financial system is going bye-bye. A new digital economy is coming, and that the implementation of that digital economy is going to govern our lives. And who is doing that? The people who have corruptly been put into power through a corrupt voting system that we're all cheering on. So, now that we've been through that, what are we going to do? Because I don't like to finish these videos on a sour note and a bitter note and say, oh, we're all buggered, because I don't believe we are. I believe that what's happened in the US was deliberate, that they allowed them to do all this fuckery with the voting systems, because this is the only way it can be pointed out, and the only way that you can catch a criminal in the act is to actually let them commit a crime. And that's what's happened. Massive voter fraud on an industrial scale across the entire country of America. It's happened here as well, many, many times. Don't think it hasn't. Doesn't matter where you live. Our democracy is at stake. There are people that are working diligently to point this out. And it's not just Republicans, and it's not, it's across the board, because people, regardless of your party affiliation, should want clarity and fairness in the elections. There's people like Charles Hoskinson over at IOHK who have a smart contracts platform who can develop a voting system on the blockchain very, very quickly and have it implemented so we can have a real election to show real results instantly as people vote from an app on their phone that's unhackable. There are people doing good things. And I want you all to remember that when we see all this fuckery going on. And it is political fuckery at its highest form, and it's disgusting. We should all be concerned, regardless of your political affiliation. Now, I want you to take a moment, have a look where I am. I'm in the middle of a field, blue sky in November. I want you all to look around and take advantage of the good things that are around you, because maybe switch off the TV for a little while, go for a walk out in nature, spend some time with your family. If you're in lockdown like I am, fuck the lockdown. I don't wear a mask. I go where the fuck I want and I do what I want, and no one's going to tell me otherwise. Put me in prison. We all have to make a decision. We have to make a stand as well. Where are you going to put your stand? Where are you going to put your flag down and say, enough is enough, I will not comply? All right, I wish you all well. Have a great day. Love you all. And I look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.